Welcome back, and I know if you're a Giant fan, you don't want to hear this, but one of the NFL's most beloved and successful teams, but now the Washington Redskins, facing a very different opponent than used to on Sundays. Recently, an activist for Native American issues testified before the feds, essentially demanding that the Redskins lose the rights to their team name because of its disparaging nature to Native Americans. The owner of the Redskins, Dan Snyder, who rarely speaks out lately, told the USA Today, "No way, no how." Quote, "We'll never change the name. It's that simple. Never. You can use caps." And this isn't the first time a team has faced questions or conflicts about the names and mascots. You know, if you, like me, are a St. John's fan, you know we used to be called the St. John's Redmen. Now they're the Red Storm, changing both logo and obviously name here. Till '97, Miami of Ohio, the cradle of coaches for those who don't remember, went by the name the Redskins. They're now the Red Hawks. You can find other stories, Marquette and other schools as well. All right, so it gets to the question. Dominic, there was an interesting story. Somebody said, somebody called somebody chief on a airplane. It was a black flight attendant who was saying this to, the guy happened to be Native American. He said, by calling me chief, it's the same thing as if I called you the N-word. Mm-hmm. The guy goes, deal with it or whatever. But the point is, should it matter if only a tiny percentage, and it's a minority even of Native Americans who are offended by the name? What is the population or the percentage that should decide if something's offensive or not?
Well, where you're going with this is if you're only offending a few people, is it really offensive? My belief, and maybe I'm PC gone too far, is that why offend anybody? Why do it? Why? And if you're using a term that's equal to the N-word, and let me just divert for 1 second, any of the kids out there that use the N-word in passing, it's not a term of endearment. When you look at the history of the word, it should never be used. But if you're using something that's equivalent to the N-word, it shouldn't be used. Now, with that said, I remember St. John's. It seems like they have not been as effective since they changed the name from
I don't know what has to do with the other, but Andrew, you live down in the D.C. market.
And I'm a Redskins fan.
Right. Do you think it's like, come on?
I mean, I do from a fan standpoint. It also gets to be difficult because then what exactly is the threshold of a level of offense? If just one person...
Listen, you used to be called the Washington Bullets. And the
right.
team owner, Abe Poland, said with all the violence that was going on, the kids who were killed, there was a particularly awful summer, I remember, they changed it to the Wizards. Mm-hmm. Terrible name, terrible team. But the point is, they did that.
But there are also... I mean, Canucks, the Vancouver hockey team, that's a nickname. So are Canadians, and you know, not necessarily everybody beloves Metropolitans and even the Knickerbockers or
okay,
Yankees.
But there is something Redskins is like, if you think about it.
Because then what, you know, if one person says, I don't really like the use of Knickerbockers, then are the Knicks going to have to change their name?
No, I know that. They don't know what a Yankee is either, but how about you?
I remember at the Dean Martin roast for Howard Cosell, Muhammad Ali gets up and he says, why are we honoring this man? Have we run out of people? And the bottom line is, have we run out of issues that this becomes this kind of a societal discussion? I don't think offense is intended. It's a traditional name that's been used for a long, long time in a sport. I recognize there are alternate points of view on it. We got so many more. I know not so much your choice of issue, but the fact that somewhere out there this has engaged a debate over team.
Florida State. Anybody watch the game? You got a guy running out there throwing a flaming spear down. Some white co-ed like me out there doing it in dress, and they're doing the tomahawk chop. If you're the college president, you say cut it out, or do you say, hey, well, it's just fun on Saturday?
University of Hawaii comes out of guys in King Kamehameha in a grass skirt. Is that insulting to the traditions of Native Hawaiians? You'd be changing the structure of things well beyond what we're doing now.
Make that the last word. Okay, everybody. Up next, federal government spends billions contracting out work every year, which means billions going to those workers. But a new report says not so much. It's going to the top end, not to the other people on the bottom. All right, we're going to get into that. And also, I want to thank all you guys, George, Dominic, Andrew. All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Stay with us.